Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for a great show tonight. Tonight's featured guest, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Special musical guests by Lil Patho, featuring Manifestations. Your host of the Super Late Show, Pathophysiology. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a really great show for you tonight. Our special guest tonight is best known for their work describing chronic lymphocytic leukemia. This illness all starts with some bad white blood cells called B cells. You are familiar with B cells' work, I believe, in the Producers, that musical about a B cell just trying to create antibodies to help fight off a infection. The current project, though, is focused more on an older adult who was exposed to Agent Orange during the Vietnam War. A B cell inside of him transforms due to a mysterious genetic change and becomes a cancerous B cell. I know. I hate it too. This deformed cell growing up on the tough streets of bone marrow begins to replicate and spread, all while crowding out healthy cells, which provides the potential for anemia, infection, and clotting issues. As these collections of cancerous cells begin to fill the marrow and the lymph nodes, those areas reach capacity and the non-functional cells begin to spill out into the bloodstream. As they travel through the body, they cause chaos and disease progression wherever they go. I was able to be present for a screening of this project, and let me just say, I laughed, I cried, I received chemo, targeted drug therapy, immunotherapy, and a bone marrow transplant. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring out my guests. Clinical Manifestation. Hi, Clinical. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Pat?
I'm doing well.
So I'm really excited to tell you about our movie.
Yeah.
We worked really hard on it. We did a lot of things to really just set up our main character in the best possible way, right? So a lot of the ways that she presents in our movie, she's got, enlarged lymph nodes, some abdominal pain. She's got some really unexplained weight loss, and some tachycardia, fatigue, palpitations, all that nice cardiac stuff,
sure,
right,
interesting,
Pat?
Yeah.
And then she's got some bleeding stuff going on, some bleeding and bruising. That's just really weird, like the petechiae, those nice little dots on your skin that pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's, kind of pale, and then she's got this really odd bone tenderness, right?
Really?
Yeah, so
fascinating.
Super interesting. Like, she comes up with lots of signs and symptoms as a character in our movie, right?
Excellent.
But we also, to kind of frame around her and kind of just really flesh her out, we did a lot of diagnostics on her, right?
Okay.
So for some labs, we'll find some elevated white blood cell counts,
sure.
some of that nice neutropenia and lymphocytosis, and that lymphocytosis was 3 months, greater than 3 months of lymphocytosis.
Really? 3 months?
3 months.
Wow.
Right. And then some other stuff that we did was IGVH, which is a gene mutation in the bone marrow. We did lots of bone marrow smears and
sure.
stuff like that.
Sure.
And then she's also just got really low hemoglobin counts, right?
Really?
Less than 11. She's got really low hemoglobin.
Our show won a hemoglobin last year.
I'm so proud of you,
Yeah,
Pat. Oh no. Well, I hope this.
We weren't even nominated.
She's also got some thrombocytopenia, and some of the stuff that you'll see in our visual shots and our production quality. We did some ultrasounds. You'll find that there's some like spleen and liver enlargement with those
Cool.
ultrasounds.
How does that look on the big screen?
Very enlarged.
Yeah, I bet. I would imagine.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And then we do some CT scans just to see kind of how far she's gone, right?
Sure.
And she can end up all over the place if she spreads out.
Okay.
And then we also do something called a bone marrow aspiration, which is just like a biopsy of that nice marrow inside the bones of this movie, you know, right?
Okay, sure.
And then that can find kind of abnormal cells and anything that's kind of funky, weird going on in there.
Sure. Yeah.
But we worked really hard on the production of our movie, and I'm just really
sounds like
proud of the writing. I'm proud of the filmmakers and the whole production crew. It's just really
That
fantastic.
sounds great. I think we have another member of the
We
production crew here, actually,
I'm
right?
so excited for you to meet head
Cool.
to toe assessments.
Normally, I do the intros. Would you like to intro head to toe assessments?
I would love to intro head to toe assessments.
Fantastic.
All right, coming up is one of my very, very favorite coworkers. His name is Head to Toe Assessments. Everybody give a hand.
All right. Hey, head to toe. Good to see you, man. Hey, welcome,
yeah.
welcome.
Great.
Glad to have you.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here indeed. Yeah, thanks to, we've been working really hard on the movie and the film, and the clinical manifestations has just done an amazing job cinematographically and with all that type of stuff. So it's been a real pleasure working with them. In terms of my role, which is head to toe assessment, I basically was the R&D department. So I went out on the street looking for this B cell, and it was kind of tricky to find. Hiding in alleyways and whatnot. So I did a number of techniques because B cell leaves a pretty clear trace, right? So one of the big ones is swollen lymph nodes. So how are you going to look for those? I mean, you inspect visually, you palpate occipital, facial lymph nodes of the neck.
Okay.
Yeah. So all sorts of ways. If that doesn't work, we go for bleeding because that leaves a really good, as clinical said, petechiae, big one. Also bruising. So to see that, full clinical assessment, full scan assessment. Yeah. And that's mainly things. We'll also look at the stool, see if there's any bleeding in that.
Always got to check the poo.
Always got to check the poo. Check the poo.
Gotcha.
Also related to blood, anemia, because B cells. I mean, this type of lymphoma displaces red cells. It kind of takes over the hood, knocks everyone out, and that causes anemia. So we look for that with kind of observing the color of, the conjunctiva.
Oh, okay.
Conjunctiva, and kind of just inquiring about general energy levels, and whatnot. So clinical mentioned the splenomegaly and kind of enlarged organs.
Yeah.
So you can actually, the crazy thing is you can actually find that by palpation.
Oh, really?
So if you palpate kind of up under the ribs, you're not supposed to feel anything. If you do, that's splenomegaly.
Interesting.
That is a top tip, industry tip.
Yeah, okay.
The other thing is just pain, If people are feeling pain, the likelihood that the B cell might be in the hood.
Okay.
So the couple other things that we looked at, increased signs of infection. So any sign of infection, do they have a fever? Do they have a cold? Do they breathing pattern, odd breathing pattern, or mouth sores? Any sort of stiffness of neck. Those can all be kind of a hint that this B cell might be in the round.
Interesting.
Last couple of things that we'd look at is the bone pain that they mentioned. Right. So this is a deep pain, but surprisingly, it's generally fairly specific. Not like organ pain, which is diffuse. But it's kind of a specific location. And then heart. With the heart, you get tachycardia and palpitations. So we can use our auscultation on the heart to listen. And you can go around to all the, ape to man, those 5 points. and listen, and especially if you'll listen to apical pulse for a full minute, and just pay attention to the quality of the heartbeat.
I think, if I remember correctly, Steven Spielberg used that on Indiana Jones. That technique, right? To man, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it is a common technique we use in the industry. You know, I mean, I'm not making this stuff up.
No.
You know.
No.
But yeah. Anyway, so using all these things, generally you combine a couple factors, and we can kind of narrow in on our suspect, and that's how we were able to get this great footage.
That's excellent. That is really excellent. Yeah. And honestly, like I said, I was part of the screening. The end result is incredible.
Thank
it really
you.
is.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I think we have one of our actors, if you want to meet her.
Really? That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Go ahead and introduce her.
She's our anti-hero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Impact on organ systems.
Impact on organ systems.
Come on down, Impact.
Hey, Impact. Nice to see you. You look lovely. Come on in. Have a seat. Good. How are you?
Good.
Fantastic. So I got to watch this presentation that you guys did. I was at the screening. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I was just absolutely blown away.
I know. Mostly thanks to me.
I mean, honestly, sincerely.
Yeah.
Your acting really, it made B-Cell such a relatable character.
Yeah.
I was like, sometimes I work and sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I function normal and sometimes I have a genetic mutation. It's great.
I really like to play the bad guy in movies, so this was kind of a perfect role for me, actually. So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah. So I'm playing the impact that lymphocytic leukemia has on the body systems and organs. So, like I said, bad guy. We're going to first attack the hematologic system.
Okay.
Because I love blood. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't, right?
But I hate healthy blood.
Oh, okay.
So, we really want to cause some disturbances there. So, I want to turn as many of those functioning cells into non-functional lymphocytes.
Sure.
Really build those up in there. That's going to give us a lot of power.
So you're kind of recruiting an army.
Pretty much.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, we build those up in the bone marrow.
Right.
Because also, again, bone marrow is delicious, right?
Sure.
So,
yeah.
We're going to go in there, hang out there for a little bit, kind of like it's a swanky restaurant. Eat that all up. And then from there, we like to push out into the healthy blood cells.
Sure.
So we're going to basically change the makeup of the blood cells in the body.
Okay.
So it's going to become a lot less functional, like I said. So, like you said, kind of building up that army of bad guys.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, what's a bad guy without their crew, right?
So.
Villains got to have people.
Yeah. So this way we can work on other systems of the body. So from there we can move on and attack the respiratory system.
Okay.
That can cause just some negative implications on breathing.
Sure.
We can cause shortness of breath, make this, them not be able to go about their daily activities and, just cause a lot of problems for them. So, and then we also like to move into the immune system.
Oh.
So that's kind of, the main objective where we really turn that whole army into just wreak havoc on the whole body and
kind of the culmination, the great battle.
Turning it against itself, right?
Cool.
So, it's great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Your whole crew has just been absolutely fantastic. And like I said, folks, I saw the movie. I literally did. I just really enjoyed it. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course.
Stay tuned. Next up will be top 10 reasons why I probably won't pass nursing school.